officially started now. So,
So
hello,
excited.
welcome to Spring Preview Week. Yay, insert
Woo!
applause. Yeah.
Yay!
So you guys are at the right place if you are looking for the jobs and internship session. I'm really excited. We're all four of us are going to share our experiences, whether that be on campus jobs or internships. And you know what's great? We do a Q&A afterwards. So if you have any questions, please feel free to send them to our lovely host, Ashley. So go ahead and send those in at any time, and we'll be sure to answer those at the end. So yes, we love all the questions and answers. But yeah, so we're going to get started. We're going to introduce ourselves because that's fun. So we're going to say our name, our major, our year, where we're from, and a dream job because it's all about the dream jobs. So, like I said, my name is Bailey. I am a junior cinema and media arts major with a minor in business administration, and I'm from Costa Mesa, California, so about 40 minutes south of Biola. And my dream job, I really want to work at Barnes and Noble or a library right now. I'm a big reader. I know Anna is too. So I don't know why. That just seems like the dream. So I'm going to pass it off to Anna now.
Thanks, Bailey. Like Bailey said, my name is Anna. Thank you guys for joining us today. We're so excited to have you. I am a senior in my last semester, graduating in 3 months, which is crazy. I'm an intercultural studies major and an international and community development minor. I'm from Northern California, from the San Francisco Bay Area, but I actually grew up in Maui for the whole middle chunk of my life. So both places feel like home. And my dream job, there's like so many different dreams that I want to pursue, but for a long time, my dream has been to be an international human rights lawyer and to be a lawyer fighting for those in human trafficking. So that's the current dream. And I am going to pass it off to Marco.
Yes, hello guys. Hello, my name is Marco. I'm also a cinema and media arts major with an emphasis in production. I'm currently a junior at Biola. I'm from San Diego, California. So go Diego. And a dream job. I want to be an editor. There's like I was gonna be like specific about it, but there's like certain areas to like an editor. I either want to assemble the film or be a colorist, where they put color in a film or in the TV show or whatever. So yeah, that would be a really good job for me, and it's what I'm passionate about. And I'm gonna pass it on to Annie.
Okay. Yes, my name is Annie Kim. I am a senior at Biola. I'm a Bible major, and I'm from La Palma, California. So whoever said you're from Cyprus, I'm like right up next to you. And my dream job is to be a stay-at-home mom. I love kids, and I love, I don't know, just doing household tasks. So chores, laundry, dishes, making meals, all of that, that's just so fun. So even though right now I'm sort of studying to teach in higher education, my dream job is to be a mom. So yes, that's a little bit about us. You'll get to know a little bit more about us as we share some of our job and internship experience. But let me first give you an overview of what the session is going to look like. So during this time, we're going to talk through on-campus jobs and internships, how to apply for those, what processes are, as well as just share some of our personal experience as well with those things. So again, as Bailey had said in the very beginning, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat throughout, and then we'll get them at the very end. So let's jump in. I'm going to sort of open it up with explaining logistically how on-campus jobs work, what that whole process looks like. So one, we have a very handy website called Handshake, where all of our Biola students will go to look for internships or jobs on or off campus. And so, yeah, it's basically a website that Biola uses to connect students to different things. We also host career events so that students can even get to know other employers and just sort of see what's out there. So in terms of interview processes and how to actually get a job, Biola students have access to Handshake as soon as you get your Biola email, which is really great because then even before you come to Biola as a freshman, during the summer, you can look at our applications on Handshake and sort of see, okay, do I want to come into freshman year with a job? If so, what job do I want to do? So for example, this ambassador job that we all have, Bailey, Marco, Anna, and I, you can apply for that before you actually come to Biola as an incoming freshman. And so all of that stuff is on Handshake, which is really great and it's accessible. But in terms of, yeah, interview processes, basically you will usually just submit a resume to Handshake, or we have a Biola Common Leadership application that's being developed right now, where you can apply to multiple student leadership positions on campus, and you submit a resume, a little bit about yourself, why you want to work these positions on campus. And then oftentimes we'll do interviews in a couple different styles. So phone interviews are really common. So that's sort of like a first round kind of thing. If we have a ton of applicants, we'll do several phone interviews with students and see if we want to have them move on to a next stage. We also have one-on-one interviews between the student and an employer, or we'll even have group processing interviews where it's sort of a panel of students with a couple of the employers. So a lot of different ways to do the interviews. And yeah, I don't know if this is true for any of you guys, but I never had a professional job before applying for a Biola job. And so I felt super unprepared going into an interview. I wasn't quite sure how to carry myself, how to communicate about myself. But Biola's career office actually has this really handy thing that they do with students. It's basically interview, like mock interview. So you can schedule an appointment with the Career Center, and they are more than happy to sit down with you and sort of walk you through what an interview would look like. So even if you don't feel super confident in that process, we want to help you, and we want to empower you to go out and do those things. So that's a little bit about interview processes. Yeah, and it looks different for different jobs. So for this job specifically, we do a phone interview, and then we do an interview with the supervisors for this job, and then we'll let students know if they got the job. I also have another on-campus job. It's as a peer academic advisor, and that one we do a resume submission, and then after that it's a group interview. So everyone who's applying sort of goes around as a little group cohort kind of thing, and we go to different stations and do different team working events, and then people are sort of walking around proctoring and trying to see like, okay, how is this person doing with teamwork and creativity and leadership and that kind of stuff. So yeah, again, it looks different for different on-campus jobs. And so Bailey's actually going to share a little bit about what her experience has been like with on-campus jobs and internships.
Thanks, Annie. I am a huge advocate for Biola jobs. Clearly, this is my second year doing this job, and I absolutely love it. And like the family that we've connected, I would say like I really found my Biola community through this job because I got to meet a lot of different people in different majors. Marco and I are in the same major, and we didn't even meet till we had this job together. I wouldn't have probably met Annie or Anna because we're in very different majors. So I think it was a really cool way to get plugged in. So yes, highly recommend this job. Of course, has just been a great way to get plugged in. I also work in the Learning Center as a tutor, so I get to meet one-on-one with students, even now virtually, which is just a great resource. I know I need tutoring for classes like accounting, so it's been super great because I get to be tutored and get tutored. So yes, all the things. I would just say a great thing about on-campus jobs is that you are a student first. So instead of for example, I worked at Blaze Pizza in high school, and they didn't care about my school schedule. But what's great at Biola is that, for example, every semester, our boss for this job will ask for our school schedule. And that way she'll work around our schedule. So that way, in case you really need to take a class at this time, you can get into that class and not have to worry about your work schedule or any conflicting times like that. Even scheduling this session, I knew that I wouldn't have to miss anything because we work around our schedules. So that is a great thing. Plus, you just walk to commute typically on campus. It was great. I'd get my steps in, walk over to our admissions area. Great time. We are going to start talking a little bit about internships, and I would just say internships are great. I know Marco's going to go and Anna are going to go into them more, but really encourage them. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Anna.
I think Marco's going to go for it first, actually. So Marco, take it away.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So guys, internships, they're exciting. And I'm just gonna go through some of my experience right now. So how did I get this internship here in this place, Kappa Studios, which is a post house in Burbank, California? And did I do it through a Biola system? Yes, I did. Cinema and Media Arts, our Cinema and Media Arts program is very like serious about internships. They encourage everybody in the program to do so. It is required through Biola, through their program, because they know how important it is. What my internship, what our internship manager was telling us that this past day is that there's a variety of schools who don't require it, which is like an optional. But since they took like a step further with this, they're taking it very seriously, and it's a requirement for us. So we know we get this industry experience and kind of walk through the industry professionalism. So I did get it through by the system, which is we have a internship manager who is constantly doing internship searches for us and sends it out in a newsletter. And from there, we can go towards like applications, contact like either the HR from the place or like the manager, and just like kind of talk to them about just more information. The application process, well, of course, they need to get to know you. They need to get to know your work, especially. They need to know your strengths. They need to know your creative strengths, especially. So if you are a film major or whatever, well, for me as a film major, I had to put a portfolio. I had to create a website, so I can lead those people to my work and just be like, hey, I have everything here, check it out, and let me know what you think. And if I get it or if I don't get it, I still got the chance to put myself out there, because that's what this is about. If you're the creative person, you need to get your work out there, you need to get yourself out there, and there's going to be a lot of people doing all that. So I'm going to cut my time kind of short, and I'm going to pass it off to Anna about her internship experience.
Thanks, Marco. So I've had 3 internships so far being here at Biola. I was supposed to, because I'm an intercultural studies major, one of the main things that we do a part of our major is we have a required internship that we do in a different country over the summer before our senior year. So that was something that I was looking forward to for all of Biola, knowing that I would be living in a different country going on an internship before my senior year. As we all know, the world had a bit of a meltdown and COVID happened, and I was unable to do that. So actually, all of my internships that I've been able to have, I've had 3 internships so far, I'm still having them. All of them I've been able to have during this digital COVID world, which is so crazy. And I'm so thankful for the opportunity and just the ability for there to still be internships during this time. And even almost having more internship opportunities because of just the accessibility now, and how, I'm interning for companies that have offices in Chicago, and that's who I'm meeting with. And so I've been thankful for that. But so given that, a lot of places that I was originally going to intern for or was looking at all shut down because I couldn't leave the country. So the way that I found a lot of my internships was I just researched companies that I was passionate about. I'm really passionate about international nonprofit work. So I wanted to focus on companies that were international nonprofits that were Christian. And I just sent emails. And I know that sounds kind of scary to send out emails just saying, hey, like, my name's Anna, I'm from Biola, this is what I'm majoring in. Do you have any internship opportunities? And sometimes it can be a little bit daunting to put yourself out there, but honestly, that is what had worked so well for me. Putting yourself out there, taking that risk and taking that chance. And so I know that can sound scary, but it's really not that scary. And a lot of people will be impressed if you have the initiative and just the courage to go and do that. And so don't be afraid by that. A lot of times when people would tell me that, yeah, they didn't have an internship program or it wasn't happening that summer, they a lot of times give me a reference to somebody else. When people are really on your side and do want to help. And so finding different companies or organizations that you do have some sort of passion about, even if you don't know who they are, if you are a certain major and you're looking for experience in that field, my advice with internships would be to make sure you're stepping into something that you are at least interested in or passionate about, or you want to learn something. I've been interning with a Bay Area anti-trafficking organization, and I am interning for World Relief, which is another Christian development nonprofit, and now I'm also interning for A21 and Christine Kane. And so all those I am passionate about. I am passionate about what I'm learning, and it's okay to have internships of companies you've never heard of before, or just learning different things. But for me, it has really showed me this is what I'm passionate about, and it has given me a lot of experience, and I am thankful for that. So don't be afraid of just emailing those companies too, putting yourself out there and seeing what happens. So for me, on my internships, I have kind of been stepping into the role of a lot of project coordination and project management, which is something I didn't totally expect to step into. I came into internships just wanting to learn. That was mainly the posture I had of like, I just want to learn from you guys who know what you're doing and do it so well. And that would just be another piece of encouragement, is just stepping into these internships and jobs, knowing your capabilities and knowing what you can do, but also just taking that posture of, I want to learn from you guys who have been doing this and know what you're doing. And so just because of my experience in that and being a part of the internships, I've been able to kind of step up and take some project management on some different projects that are happening, and a lot of project coordination. And I have been really thankful for that. And then just thinking about balancing, I am an ambassador. I am a senior in college. I was in high school. I'm not a senior in high school. I'm a senior in college, and I have a couple different internships. And then also, like, I want to see friends and I want to have a life still. And it can be hard to balance all these things, but it is so manageable. And I think every college student will say this, but just organizing your time and working ahead will be so crucial to making sure that you can keep everything balanced and manage, and also be healthy at the same time. I usually do my homework a couple of weeks ahead of time. I like to stay on top of things a couple of weeks and then review them before that class period. But really, if you have time to work ahead, I Google Calendar everything. I love it. It's color coordinated. It looks pretty. Big fan of the Google Calendar. Once you get to college, you'll realize that Google Calendar is your best friend and you will love it. Bailey may love it more than I do, but I do love it. So or Annie Cam, all three of us are really big Google Calendar fans. Marco, I don't know how you feel, but at least us three girls, I know we all love Google Calendar. So Google Calendar, working ahead, staying on top of things, writing everything down. You are so capable of handling more than just school. It can fit into your schedule. You're able to do it. It's just working ahead and working hard on that too. But it is so manageable. So that's just a little bit about what we have experienced both with jobs. All of us have an on-campus job, as we are all here, and a couple of us have had experience in internships. So we're going to turn it over to a little bit of a Q&A session for our last couple of minutes. We have some pre-submitted questions, but if you have any other questions that you're wanting to ask, you can chat them into our monitor, Ashley. Moderator, not monitor, moderator, Ashley, and she will let us know them. So one of our first questions is, what internship supports you have for students? That is a great question. I would first recommend, we have something called the Career Center, and they have just entire databases and lists of different organizations that Biolans have interned for, worked for, or just connections. And you can go to them and say, this is the major I'm in, this is what I'm interested in. And they will show you different organizations, different places to make connections with, and different contacts who have worked from or who have been from Biola and have worked there. We also have different majors who have peer internship advisors. That's a Biola student has an on-campus job, and that Biola student has, again, databases and lists of different internships specifically for that major, and helps connect you as a student and your passions and what you're interested in to finding a internship. Also, just going to your professor. A lot of times I would go to my professors and just ask them, do you have any suggestions of companies that I should apply for? You know who I am, you know what I'm passionate about, and also, do you have any connections? You'll find that your professors are really wanting to help you. They are on your side and they want to see you succeed. So those are some of the internship support that we would have for students. And so I'm going to pass it over to Bailey for our next question.
Thanks, Anna. This next question, are internships a good option for freshmen, or is this completed in later years? So depending on your major, I know Anna brought up a very specific example for her major, but I know I can speak for CMA. There's not really a timeline for that, which is great. I did have an internship my first year at college, but it was an unpaid internship, so I wasn't getting any money. It took a lot of my time, and it was lots of getting coffee for people, which I totally expected. That also teaches you a lot. So it is totally possible. It's also up to you. If you had previous job experience in high school and you know how to balance that, I say go for it. But really, there's no exact timeline or expectation. Most people, I feel, do them their junior to senior year. But so that was that question. I'm going to pass it off to Annie for the next one.
Yes. Okay. So next question we have, what are some job opportunities Biola offers, and what are some advantages Biola offers to students after they finish college? So we have a handy dandy little list of just different on-campus jobs. So I'm just going to read some of those out for you. So one, ambassador, which is what we're all doing right now. We have students who work at the CAF, at our different coffee shops and eateries, administrative assistants for different departments, people who work in the library, resident advisors who oversee all the students in their dorm, peer academic advisors, which I already mentioned for myself. Professors have different TAs, and then we also have just a ton of other stuff on campus. So if there's any kind of department on campus, there's usually a student job for it. So SGA, our student government, or our student missionary union, or the bookstore, or tutoring, or campus safety. So there are so many jobs on campus, and I will say that most of my friends that I know have had at least one on-campus job at some point, but I've also met a lot of my friends through on-campus jobs, so I'm sure that's an incredibly skewed statistic there. But yes, a ton of on-campus jobs. And then in terms of advantages Biola offers to students after they finish, we have that career center that we were talking about this entire time. That's actually available to students even after they graduate. So that's all for free. You can do resume review, mock interviews, and use that Handshake website that we use to connect each other to internships and jobs. That is all accessible after you graduate too. So that's a really helpful thing to have under your belt. And then Marco, you're going to answer the next question.
Awesome. So yeah, next question on the list. How likely and easy will getting internships and jobs in film be for me as a student? And what type of internships and jobs should I expect? All right, so it just depends on your forte. So for example, I'm an editor. There's different jobs for an editor. There's different jobs for a producer, different jobs for a cinematographer, different jobs for a director. And the one key thing about getting a job, about getting an internship, is to make sure that you network. So like I said, for internships, take advantage of your resources. Like if the college that you go to, make sure that they have a really good network of internship search. If you want a job, make sure that you network, know the right people, and that way they can get you more on set. Like for example, me, as an aspiring editor, I casually met a commercial director, and it looks like he needed an editor because he hasn't started a project since not like I don't know how long ago, and he needed someone to make a rough cut for him. So I was like, hey, I'm available. What can I do for you? And that's the way that I was able to land a small gig. That's what we call it, kind of like that fancy film term. You get your gigs. So it's all about networking. It's all about your resources. It's easy if you do the job. It's easy if you do your homework. It's easy if you get to know the system, if you meet people, if you know what you're doing, the easier it'll get for you, and you'll be able to go with the flow more and more and more. Either, like I said, with whatever concentration that you have, if you invest your energy, time, knowledge, wisdom, everything, and put God first, that's most importantly, because God is the key to your success, then that's when you'll just see open doors everywhere. So yeah, I'm gonna pass it off to Anna for another question.
Hello. Okay, so our next question is getting a job on campus competitive? And that is a great question. Annie listed off a bunch of jobs earlier, and there are so many different jobs. And she even mentioned just a lot of different ones, and a lot of them will just range between they need 100 people working in that, or other ones only have a couple. And so if you are wanting a job on campus, any sort of job, you can most likely be fine one. They aren't as many different options, and because there's a lot of different departments, just ranging from working for a major, working for resident life, working in the cafeteria. There are so many different jobs. So if you are wanting an on-campus job, you are going to be able to find one. There are different ones that are more competitive, that are more leadership based. We have to apply for them, and they're more just based around leadership or service. And those ones just by nature are more competitive because more people want to be ambassadors or work for the student missionary union or be resident advisors. But if you are wanting an on-campus job, there are so many different options. And just Annie listing them all for just a couple of the different ones. If you are wanting to see more of them, a lot of them are listed on Handshake that Annie talked about earlier. And so when you get a Biola email, you can find that there. So I'm going to pass it off to Bailey next.
Yeah, so this is a great question. What is it like balancing a job with a social life in school? I think we all four can say we're still trying to figure it out as we go, but I would say is boundaries and organization. Those two things will set you up. If you organize your time, for example, we're big Google Calendar people here. anyone else is, it's great. But that way I know when I schedule all my classes and I know how to balance out my time, as well as sometimes if I need to work on a paper, like after this, I have it blocked on my calendar that I know I'm going to work on my paper. But I think it just comes to setting boundaries as well. For example, I say I'm not going to do homework on Sundays. So that would give me a lot of time to have that social life as well. Sometimes depending on the semester, I'll say, okay, Sundays and Fridays, I won't do homework. It really depends on your semester and what you're capable of. But I just kind of like I have a list of rules that I have for myself about like when I do homework and things like that and when I take time to be social or to enjoy things like reading. So yes, I just say organize your time well. Once again, it's very different every semester. So sometimes can take 2 days off from homework, sometimes I can only take one. So I would say organization and boundaries are my answers. So now back to Annie.
Okay. This next question is really specific for poli-sci students. So what internships are available for poli-sci? So I actually have a couple of poli-sci friends who have done a number of internships. So one of them did an internship where she actually worked at a law firm for a little bit over the summer, which isn't super like it wasn't the exact direction that she wanted to go to, but sort of like what Bailey was saying with that internship where she took coffee to a ton of people. Sometimes you just need to have like a starting place for internship. So that was really helpful for her. But then a really big one that a lot of poli-sci students will do is with AEI, which is American Enterprise Institute. And AEI works with students from students across the nation, and they'll do a lot of work and a lot of like discussion based things and work through different topics like constitutional law, international relations, American healthcare system. So a lot of different topics that they'll work through. And those can take place during the school year, but there's also a specific AEI summer honors program that a lot of Biola students will do. So a couple of my poli-sci friends did that together where they all go to Washington, DC and sort of just intern there together. And it's just such a cool opportunity for them to connect with other students who are really passionate about political science. But then, also get to meet a ton of people on Capitol Hill and get to do tours inside, just different Capitol buildings. So that was a really great one that they did. That's probably our biggest poli-sci internship that we work with. So I hope that sort of answers your question. But then again, we have our Handshake platform to connect you with other ones too. And so, yes, let's see. Our next question is going to go back to Marco.
Yes. So how soon can CMA students do internships? Can they start as soon as freshman year? I think this was kind of covered already by Bailey. However, just to kind of put like my train of thought on it, I said that you wait. Okay, wait until your sophomore junior year. Let your freshman year be the warm up. You know, get familiarized with your introductory classes, focus on that, learn basics, and just know what you want to start with. So, and then you'll start to select internships based on your interests. So I say you kind of hang in there, learn the craft, loosen yourself up, and then once you reach your sophomore, kind of mid sophomore junior year, then that's where it can start getting serious and you can take the next steps. So now I'm going to pass it on to Anna.
Awesome. So this is going to be our last question for our time together. And is having an internship mandatory? Is it a requirement for graduation or just to graduate successfully? So a lot of majors do require an internship. Not all of them do. So it really does depend on what major you are going into. I know for me, for intercultural studies, that was a requirement. And then COVID happened and then it didn't become a requirement. And I have friends who are public relations majors. They're required to have two. I have other friends who are Biola majors and they're not required to have any. And so it really does depend on the major, but they will make that very clear as a freshman. Your first semester, they will let you know if that is something that's a requirement of you and your major, so you're not left in the dark as a senior and wondering, oh my gosh, did I miss something drastic? That's something that they will continuously talk about in your major. And is having internships requirement to graduate successfully? It's not. There's people who are graduating who have never had an internship before and they are still capable and ready. Annie's one of the most qualified, capable people I know. But there are over 90% of students at Biola who are graduating either with an internship or some sort of extensive hands-on engagement and activities, such as our nursing majors. They don't have a nursing internship, but they go to hospitals and have their clinicals and are working alongside real patients and real doctors. So that's not an internship, but that is still hands-on experience. Again, it's not required. You can graduate without an internship and you're not going to fail in the real world. But I think all of us can say that our on-campus jobs and our internships have given us skills, and it's also just empowerment, knowing that we can handle and go into the working world. But we've gained a lot of skills, we've gained a lot of confidence, we've gained a lot of practical knowledge from that as well. And so I know I am super thankful for my internships. I have learned a lot from it. And I know that those have helped me take what I've learned in my classroom and in my major and to actually use it in the real world, and also see what I'm passionate about and see what type of job I actually do want to go into when I graduate in a few short months away. But thank you guys so much for joining us. That concludes our time here. I'm going to pray for us all together before we go. So if you guys just wouldn't mind praying with me, that would be great. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this time where we can gather together all around the country and just hear about our experiences with jobs and internships. Thank you for Annie, Bailey, and Marco for just sharing what was on their heart and sharing their different experiences and stories. And I just pray over this group of students right here, God, in the midst of applying to colleges and figuring out where you have for them and what life looks like. I just pray that you give them peace and confidence and assurance and discernment in what you have. I pray for this full reliance on you. This is a crazy time. Just applying for college is already crazy. And in the midst of a pandemic is even crazier. So I pray that you just give them peace and confidence in this. I pray that they know that their worth and value and identity only comes from you. It does not come from transcript scores or from a college acceptances or denials. God, I pray that they know that it only comes from you, that they are inherently loved and valued because of that. And even looking forward, God, coming into college, already thinking about what type of internships am I going to have? What type of job am I going to have? Am I going to make it? Will I be successful after I leave here? I pray that you just give them peace and continually knowing that you have a good plan. You are sovereign, you are here, and you are above all. So just thank you for these students that were able to gather with us today. I pray that you bless them. I pray that they just continue to have peace during the season. And I pray that if it's in your will, we see them all at Biola next semester. And in your name, amen. Well, thank you so much, you guys. It was so good to see you virtually, for you to join us today. I hope that what we said was helpful. And we are truly praying for you. Your admissions counselors are praying for you. Your ambassadors, such as ourselves, are praying for you when we truly, truly are. So thank you so much for
Thanks,
joining us
guys.
today, and have a great rest of your day.
Yes. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone, for joining. Have a
Thank you,
great
guys.
day.
Blessings.
Bye.
Thank you.
Guys, have a good
Bye.
day.